I have a brother here who's going to do a recitation from the Quran. What he will do is he'll read a passage from the Quran and he will recite it for you. And I hope you enjoy it, even though you're not going to understand it. Try to listen to the essence of it, and it's beautiful Arabic. So you have the honor of listening to a short recitation.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كافها يا عين صاد ذكر رحمة ربك عبده زكريا إذ نادى ربه نداء خفيا قال رب إني وهن العظم مني واشتعل الرأس شيبا ولم أكن بدعائك رب شقيا وإني خفت الموالي من ورائي وكانت امرأتي عاقرا فهب لي من لدنك وليا يرثني ويرث من آل يعقوب واجعله رب رضيا يا زكريا إنا نبشرك بغلام اسمه يحيى لم نجعل له من قبل سميا قال رب أنى يكون لي غلام وكانت امرأتي عاقرا وقد بلغت من الكبر عتيا قال كذلك قال ربك هو علي هين وقد خلقتك من قبل ولم تك شيئا صدق الله العظيم.
This is a recital of the mercy of your Lord to his servant Zechariah. Behold, that is Zechariah, he cried to his Lord in secret, praying, O my Lord, infirm indeed are my bones, and the hair of my head does glisten with grey. But never am I unblessed, O my Lord, in my prayer to you. Now I fear what my relatives and colleagues will do after me. But my wife is barren, so give me an heir as from yourself, one that will truly represent me, and represent the posterity of Jacob, and make him, O my Lord, one with whom you are well pleased. His prayer was answered. O Zechariah, we give you good news of a son. His name will be John the Baptist. On none by that name have we conferred distinction before. He said, O my Lord, how shall I have a son when my wife is barren, and I have grown quite decrepit from old age? He said, so it will be, your Lord says, that is easy for me. I did indeed create you before, when you had been nothing. Zechariah said, O my Lord, give me a sign. Your sign, was the answer, shall be that you shall speak to no man for 3 nights, although you are not done. So Zechariah came out to his people from his chamber. He told them by signs to celebrate God's praises in the morning and in the evening. That's essentially the opening chapter of Mary, deals with the birth of John the Baptist, and subsequently we see later on, maybe in question time, we have the birth of Jesus enumerated as well.
Can you speak a little bit about jihad?
Okay. That sometimes requires an hour to lecture. But sometimes I'll have to obviously keep it as quickly as possible because we are running at a premium. I said that there are certain words and phrases in Arabic which should be viewed in the generic sense, like the term Islam, like the term Muslim, and jihad is one of them. The word jihad basically is derived from the root word jahada, which means struggle. And the struggle could take place in many manifestations. In its root form, it simply means struggle. The word for holy war in Arabic is al-harb al-muqaddasatu, which means the holy war. Harb meaning war, muqaddasatu meaning holy war. In the Quran and in the entire Islamic tradition, that word is non-existent. The word holy war is non-existent in Islamic terminology. The very first time that this word was used was in the context of the Crusades, where this word was basically came up where Pope Urban II basically told his crusaders to go and liberate Jerusalem, engage in the holy war. If you probably saw Kingdom of Heaven, you would have a glimpse or an inkling of what that basically means. So having acknowledged that the word holy war is not to be found in the Quran, it is not to be found in Islamic terminology, and that the word jihad is derived from the root word jahada, which simply means to struggle, therefore this kind of struggle could take form in various manifestations. In the Quran, for example, there is a chapter called Surah Luqman. Sometimes some commentators identify him with one of the prophets of Arabia, not to be found in the Bible. And in Surah Luqman, which is the I think the 33rd or the 31st chapter, there is a verse where he basically addresses his son, or God tells the father to address his son. He says, "Oh, my son, that in days gone by your parents basically have raised you up, so therefore show gratitude to your particular parents." Then it goes on to say that if your polytheistic parents, those who are polytheists, if they force you to engage in acts of idolatry, then you do not obey them in acts of idolatry, but still you bear them out in good company. In this life, you look after them, you still maintain your relationships with them, but you do not obey them in the act of idolatry, in other words, worshiping idols. Now, the point I'm trying to emphasize here is that in that verse itself, the verse in question says, if your polytheistic parents force you to commit idolatry, obey them not. And in that verse, the word for force or for strive, the word used is jihad. So if I were to transliterate that particular verse as opposed to translating it, it would basically say that, look, if your polytheistic parents engage in jihad to force you to commit idolatry, then do not obey them. But it doesn't now literally mean that your parents are engaging in a holy war with you. They're simply engaging in duress upon you, are simply struggling to get you to their particular form of worship. The point I'm trying to emphasize that in this context, the word jihad here is basically used in describing an attribute which is performed by polytheists. So it means that it's essentially generic. It's not a terminology which is solely unique to the Muslim holy war or to the Islamic terrorists. It's used in a generic format. Further on, you find in many passages of the Quran, it says the believers strive in the path of God, and those who engage in oppression and the evil one strives in the path of Satan, or those who have satanic inclinations. Now, does this mean that Satan literally engages in jihad? Does he perform a holy war? Absolutely not. But in the meaning, the term is purely generic. When you look, for example, at the time of the Prophet Muhammad, when they were experiencing a great amount of boycott and they were subjected to economic embargoes, people were not trading with them, in that context, they were told to exercise patience. And the word used there was jihad. The struggle is basically patience. So, for example, by extension, if many of you are going and writing your particular examinations at Whitworth University, and you're striving and you're struggling and you're preparing to study, you are engaging in jihad without you knowing it, but you're actually engaging in jihad. So it doesn't mean now that you're engaging in some kind of holy war, but jihad in the essence, the actual struggle. So I would say that that's how this particular word needs to be viewed. It needs to be divorced from its kind of the stereotypical appellations that have accumulated over the past decade, over the past 2 decades. And it's interesting that this term, in fact, first got such a popular usage after the Iranian Revolution in '79. Before '79,